Hi, my name is Sheila Fink, and I'm a volunteer with Unite Oregon. Unite Oregon has been working in Washington County to help local residents share their housing stories and policy ideas for many years. We know that working together, we can ensure that local governments and businesses have the information and support they need to create more equitable and affordable housing opportunities. We share the belief that everyone deserves a place to call home. We've produced some very short videos to help you better understand housing issues in Washington County and to think about ways you can have a greater impact as your community grapples with these issues. In this video, we'll share some basic definitions and information about the nature and size of our problem. First, some definitions. Generally, in the US, we say that you shouldn't have to pay more than one-third of your monthly income on rent or mortgage and utilities. Sadly, over 50,000 people in Washington County are paying well over 30% of their income for housing, many as much as 50 or even 75% of their income. This results in cost burdens that create significant housing instability. Burdens that relate to poor quality, overcrowding, or too costly housing have not been evenly distributed. Communities of color have been disproportionately impacted, as reflected in numerous city and county plans and reports. What does it mean for housing to be more equitable? Housing policies and programs going forward must reduce these burdens for marginalized communities by incorporating values of inclusion and equal access to opportunity. When new housing is designed and marketed, it should be informed by and available to the full community, regardless of race, ethnicity, family status, or disability. How do families find affordable housing in Washington County? Well, some are able to find it in the private sector, the- especially if they earn around the average income for the area. But for those of lower incomes, often nothing is available in the private market that they can afford. So they may look for publicly assisted or affordable housing. This may be in an apartment in a regulated building or individual rental assistance, such as a voucher that can be used in a private apartment. Often there are long waiting lists for these. Locally as well as nationally, only about 1 in 4 of the households who qualify for housing help are actually able to get it. It's a little like winning the lottery, or like a cruel game of musical chairs, where those who can pay the least are most likely to end up without access to any home at all. The bulk of all housing stock in Washington County and throughout our country is unregulated. It's owned by private owners. This means it can be sold or rented for whatever the market will bear. While Oregon implemented some restrictions on how rapidly landlords can raise rents in 2019, that law hasn't prevented double-digit increases being approved since the law passed. Most often, when we use the term affordable housing, we're talking about housing that has some form of government regulation or support. You might hear terms like tax credit, low income, HUD, or public housing, as there are a variety of ways the funding or regulation might be structured. Builders or owners may have received public support to build or operate this housing, and therefore must limit the incomes of those who live in it and the rents that are charged. These regulations are for a specified period of time. After that time period ends, the rents are no longer restricted. How did we get here? During the recession and pandemic, production of new homes slowed. In fact, Oregon has the fourth highest rate of underproduction of housing in the country. At the same time, we had years of high migration, people moving into the state. So population growth paired with this shortage of homes and incomes that simply haven't increased at the same rate as housing costs have created quite a set of issues. In Washington County, the last consolidated plan for housing and community development indicated the need for at least 12,000 more homes affordable to those earning less than $25,000 per year. This is actually more than the total number that we currently have of regulated affordable housing, and that took decades to produce. Out of about 230,000 homes throughout the county, only about 8,000 are protected through regulation to be affordable for those of modest means. And about 3,000 additional households received some form of rental vouchers to assist their monthly housing payment. While we won't be able to double the number of affordable homes overnight, we can insist that housing issues be a top priority for state and local government. How to do that? will be the topic of our next video.